Hey guys, this is Tina from Quantum Healing with Tina. I'm a Beyond Quantum Healing practitioner, spirit releasement therapist, and intuitive empath. And today we're here with Karen. Say hi.
Hi, everybody. Hello. I'm an intuitive starseed, energetic healer, BQH practitioner, and channeling medium.
And we have a special video by request on how we met and how much we've changed since then. Also, before we start, don't forget to like this video if you like it. Subscribe to our channel because we see that less than half of you are subscribed. And also check out our website at quantumhealingwithtina.com. We would love to have you stop by. So, how we met. We met on Facebook, right?
Thank you for being here. See you guys next time.
The end. Yeah. Well, it's funny because we had both just waken up that year, like both had our awakenings, and we were both asking the universe for a friend to talk about spiritual things with because no one else would listen to us, right? Like when you wake up to spirituality, usually the people around you like have no idea what you're talking about. And they just
No.
scoff at you and think you're crazy, or my husband just laughed me off and it's like, yeah, okay, team. Um, so I was really asking for someone to be able to relate to. And then I just happened to come across Karen's post on Facebook. She had a page. She still has a page
Well, I don't, but yes, that I
called,
have no access to.
yeah, Love Yourself Movement, because she got kicked out of Facebook.
Anyway.
It's still there though, like with
Oh,
all,
is it? Okay.
yeah, with all the information. Um, yeah, and because you happen to comment your page link on someone else's post that I was following.
Yeah, it was Jennifer Pastiloff, who's really doing really well.
Is she?
I don't know if you follow her. She's with a bunch of, I don't know if that's a good thing, but like decent celebrities that I guess that aren't, you know, she's kind of doing her thing now. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, I
Yeah.
always felt like she kind of had the energy of going in that direction.
Yeah, that's where she was in like the spiritual community group, like, with Brian McGill and those peeps.
Yeah, and that's
So,
where you were when I met you. You were in that spiritual group.
well, I was just understanding how to ethically run a page, a spiritual page, um, by giving credit where it's due. Like, I wanted to know how to do it properly without, overstepping or stealing without knowing I'm stealing, like that kind of stuff, and
Yeah.
how to do that properly. So yeah, they did teach me a lot of things. But yeah, so pretty much my page started out as a blog, my Love Yourself blog, and then I think the one that I shared was about being social napped or something like that. I think that's the one that I shared on her thread or something, and you clicked on it.
Hmm. And I commented, and Karen commented back, and I was like, wow, someone actually commented back because nobody ever does, right?
They never do.
Nobody ever comments back.
Nobody
That's
comments
why I
back.
always answer every single comment I get
Hmm.
because I
Me
feel
too.
like it's just courteous if someone takes the time to comment on your material, then you should at least comment back. And
Like, I understand if you're like starting, and I mean, or you're really far in and
right,
you can't keep up with like 2 million comments. Okay,
right,
fine. But I mean, if you have like two,
right,
like, could write something or like it or something just
right.
to show that there's a little acknowledgement.
Yeah.
But yeah, she did write me. Tina resonated with what I wrote, and yeah, That's about it. That was a long time ago. I was on maternity leave at that time, and I got the notification at like 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning when I was feeding my daughter. She was like 9 months at the time, and I was already in contact with my spirit guides at this point. So my spirit guide told me, they're like, you have to write her back because she's going to change her life. I'm like, all right, I'll do it tomorrow. It's like kind of late now, so I did. Probably like 8 o'clock in the morning. I think you're already watching Munchie. Probably already at the house or something. And we just
Yeah,
started talking, and then we friended, or I friended you.
yeah. I was nannying for a baby who actually ended up becoming a huge part of my life. And I was working, Monday through Friday with her every day. And Karen and I would just like chat all day on Messenger, back and forth, getting
Yeah.
to know each other. And we had so much fun talking to each other because it really was like
Talking to yourself.
talking to
Someone,
yourself.
but not yourself, but like someone who understood you
Yeah.
on every level. And I think that's why, like, when we first started talking, I was like very, what do you call it? Nosy.
Nosy. Oh my God, she was so nosy. So nosy. Yeah. We asked a lot of questions, which was good because, when you're at that point in your life, you just want somebody to listen to you. And that's really what we did for each other. We just listened to each other. I just really needed someone to just unload like everything I was carrying, because at that point in my life, this was 2014, I was carrying so much stuff, like all of my
Yeah,
family stuff.
you were on the, yeah, and she had lupus. I mean, I remember like you told me about your lupus group, so I got myself like all educated about the lupus
Yeah.
to support you.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of stuff back then. Like she was like sharing a lot of spiritual memes and uplifting things, which I liked a lot. Like you're in a really good place. I mean, like when you're excited and motivated, and you just
Yeah.
want to like share your love and light because you're so excited finally to recognize that love and light in yourself. And I was on the same path too. When my perspective changed, my awakening, I was like, oh my God, like do people actually know the secret
Right.
that you could change everything. Like everything just changed for me in that instant. And so I was so excited to live for the first time. And yeah, asked for that friend, and then she showed up. So I mean, like, and then it was really cool to share, our journey together. We were pretty much on the same for
Yeah.
everything. I mean, like except like our journeys were kind of like opposite in a sense, because like when you met me, I was in the magic phase where I was talking to guides. I was getting a lot of gifts from angels and feathers and magic and lyrics, and just really vibing really high off the magic. And you were in a stage of like you had already conquered the ego or integrated your ego very well, like understood it, the suffering, and how you could get out of that suffering
Hmm.
type thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
then at one point we switched.
yeah. And I didn't even like believe in magic yet. So all of your stories about the angels and the feathers, I'm like, I don't
You're
know.
like, uh-huh, yeah, I bet.
Yeah, I bet. But I was always open. It just really took some convincing for my mind
Yeah,
to
because you're
grasp
still
it.
very sciencey.
It was very sciencey, very sciencey. And really what opened me up, what helped to awaken me was the science of spirituality, was the science of consciousness. That was huge. And that, like, if you have any like sciencey minded people that you're trying to get through to, offer them that science. The science of consciousness is a real science, and it's something that you can't deny. And the water experiments by Dr. Emoto, and the fact that you can change the structure of water crystals with your thoughts alone and
Mm-hmm.
emotion is that was incredible to me. And that was such a huge part of my awakening and opening up to that and the science of spirituality. So yeah, I was really um, sciencey, um, and hadn't yet experienced magic in that way. I experienced my own kind of magic, and just the fact that like I was almost like healed in an instant, just with the knowing that I didn't have to suffer anymore, and that I could change my thoughts and not be a victim of life. And my ego did integrate really quickly after that. And I was being guided by my higher self, even though I didn't know what my higher self was, or that it was the voice in my head speaking to me all the time and guiding me. It was there. I didn't have a name for it. I thought it was just me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, it's funny, like looking back and like thinking about all of this again. Um, yeah, we really just started to expand from there. I mean, we started
I
learning
find,
about who we were too, like bouncing off of each other and being able to validate, like, you know, you would validate my feelings about people, or you would validate um, that it wasn't normal for people to um, like have feelings about other people, like have that intuition. You're like, no, it's not normal.
no, no one has it.
Like,
I'm like,
it's not normal to look at a picture and be able to read someone, you know? And so we did a lot of like practicing with that and like reading people through pictures and stuff.
yeah, we'll like share pictures. Like, oh, let me know what you think about this, or she would do that with me too, and just say whatever.
Yeah. And that's how we started to build our confidence in our knowing, in our intuition. Was
But
through
back then, when we were talking, like we didn't even think that we were going to be where we are now. I mean, I
oh
remember you
God,
used to
no.
tell me you're just like you're psychic. And I was like, okay, sure.
Yeah, you're a psychic because we all are.
Right. But but in the sense of like using it as a practice and you know a business thing, as if
Yeah.
no way. I was like, all right, sure. But it
Yeah,
was a
but
lot of that.
hmm
Mhm.
yeah. And then we found out about the whole empath thing too, and what that meant for us. I mean, it's really been a journey of self discovery, is
Oh,
what the
big
last
time.
6 years have been. It's just deeper and deeper layers of self discovery. So, you know, learning about what being an empath means and how that affects your life and how you absorb, well, an unhealed empath will absorb all of the energy around them and all the physical symptoms from the people around them, and understanding and realize that that's what you've been doing your whole life, especially for me being chronically ill, mostly because I was carrying everyone. I was literally carrying everyone. That's what I did for my family. I was the parentified child. I was the parent to my family. I carried all of them. So I was absorbing all of their energies through my whole entire life, that all of their illnesses and sicknesses, which that part didn't sink until later, but it was the beginning of starting to understand myself and how I actually function in the world. And that
Hmm.
was a huge wake up call. And then the flip side of that was understanding the relationship that I was in. And the term, and this is when things, just started magically appearing. I started just to be guided, just always guided to the right things, the right information. And just one day, the word narcissist showed up on my Pinterest feed. And like, what is this? And so I started looking into it, and I'm like, oh my God, could this be my relationship? Like, is this what's happening? And like I talked about in the other video, it took a long time, probably really like a year to fully understand it.
Yeah, and I'm
And
understanding it with you. Like we're educating ourselves together and looking at that, and I'm not even at all like
thinking about
thinking
your
about
own,
myself.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that, yeah, so that took me about a year for that to fully sink in and realize that I was in an emotionally abusive relationship and accept that. That's a big part of it, is accepting that it was 20, what, 18 years at that point? 18 years. So
Right.
starting to understand that relationship and the dynamic there between the empath and the narcissist was huge. While at the same time also understanding my chronic illness too. And I was really deep into that being part of my identity at that time. And like I talked about in the other videos, labels are really useful in helping you to understand yourself. Um, so that's what I was doing then. I was, understanding myself through the labels of lupus for one, empath another, and then the flip side of that being the relationship with the narcissist. And they do really help you figure out who you are. And also the highly sensitive person, which is kind of interchangeable with empath. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, that was my journey of self-discovery. Um, yeah, and you were going along learning all of this about narcissism. And I had friends coming to me who were also in those relationships. They didn't know I was in one, but they just happened to come to me. And I remember one woman who was in like my lupus group. She was in a really abusive relationship. I
Oh,
mean,
really long.
her
Mm-hmm.
husband was like hiding a gun under the mattress, and was like, it was bad. Um, and so she came to me just for guidance on how to get out of that relationship and free herself, and she did. Um, but I was still stuck in mine for years after I even found out. Um, and then, like 2000, when did you find out? When did you go to
Oh, everything
Thailand?
went downhill for me in 2016. Well, downhill. Yeah, my whole world collapsed in 2016. Everything. I had to like deal with myself in 2016. Yeah. Yeah, because I spent my whole childhood, on the contrary to you, like you are a very grounded person. I'm not. I'm always, I was CS indigenous, like, a kite, and I'm always in the sky and you're always on the ground, just holding me through, and because like instead of you like absorbing everything else, I would have trauma and then I would check out. So I would dissociate and leave. So I was in prison for like 30 years of it, you know, and like, and then I have my awakening, and then I do understand to an extent the form of presence. But just that perspective change had brought me a little bit back onto the earth, So that's how my thing went. I was gone for like 30 years. Don't even ask me what happened, really. Very vague pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So 2016 happened, um, and my whole world fell apart. So I was already separated at that point. I went to Thailand at the beginning of the year for a like this really awesome yoga and meditation retreat, and then I came back. Uh, Tina like brought it up that I was in the same relationship. I was like, all right, having to deal with that and learning to co-parent with one was a bit on the difficult end because like we were kind of in the process of like doing mediation and trying to get to the point of divorce. And then, yeah, I went on a sick leave
But before that, you had had this huge awakening that you just couldn't be in that marriage anymore. And like you had to make that decision.
Yes, I had I had always known there was something off, but I accepted it because I always took fault and responsibility for whatever would happen there. And or
And you thought,
I felt always very invalid and rational for my emotions and how I felt. I was never validated for how I ever felt. So I always took responsibility for it. And yeah, it was like, after I had my awakening, I was still married. I only had one child. So, I mean, like when I was excited about life, I was like, oh my God, now I can finally make marriage work. And because I'm happier, like, or I have the potential to be happy now because I know the secret. And I have a baby. But had I not had that baby, I never would have done more work on myself or had the courage to start a blog about, spreading that kind of self awareness with people. And I never would have met Tina. Well, maybe not in that context, but or maybe sooner or later, whatever. But everything
yeah,
happened so divinely.
right. And you thought like, okay, well, this is my life and I'm going to make it work. And maybe I'm just not grateful enough for what I have, right?
Everything, all of those things.
Yeah.
And then it brought me to a place where it was like, no, you're not supposed to be here. Like, this is not your life. Like, this is not what what your life path is. So I was like, oh man. So I had to deal with that. And it took a lot in me to do that because like I come from a family of avoidance and not being able to express truth, being shut down for that. Again, being very invalid for your feelings. So I had to break through that. I don't even know how I did it.
And also the whole cultural thing, the Catholic thing, like you have to stay together no matter what.
Yes, I was
Divorce is
guilted in
highly
that.
frowned upon.
Yeah, I was guilted. Like, you have kids, like you should stay for the kids. And of course, like issues like that really bring you back fall into your guilt and you feel bad. Like, because like, I always say, I go, I'm not here. I don't like hurting people. I don't do it on purpose. It's not something that I'm like forcefully like, okay, I'm going to go hurt them right now because I feel like it.
Right.
Well, maybe I used to when I was miserable, when I was younger, but not in that stage. It was like I was already scared to like have a conversation because like, you give me a big body trigger and that I didn't even notice was a body trigger or understanding that as an empath, I was absorbing the energy all the time. And, of course, and
Because
I'm
you,
having
because,
doubts.
right. And even through my awakening as an empath, you didn't even recognize that in yourself that you were one for a while after that. Until I'm like, you're an empath. And
And
you're
I'm
like,
like, are you
really?
sure? And I was like, I need to do a quiz.
Yeah, we did a lot of quizzes.
Yeah, because it was also like, I was like, I don't know if that's just like something that resonates. Like, I was just kind of like, that's how disconnected I was from myself. Like, I didn't recognize my sensitivity because I really thought I was dead inside. I had labeled myself as dead inside. So I was like already stuck on this one way of thinking, dead inside me. But when I was not, I was actually, it was a coping mechanism for me to escape and leave. And because of my sensitivity, I couldn't take it. Yeah. What are we talking about? I was like, if y'all have any comments, please comment and tell us what you want us to talk about because then, you might inspire us to make a video on it. Like our beloved friend,
Maureen.
Maureen, who messaged and actually watched our whole video the last one. I'm very happy about that. Thank you so much
I
for
know.
that.
Thank you, Maureen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you had to make that decision to leave.
Yes. And I did. It was the first time I felt like, because when I would write, I always felt like something would kind of take over my body. It was a very physical sensation of, I guess, just allowing myself to express whatever wanted to come out, and in that moment. And it was the same feeling um, that had come out when I said what I had to say, when I made that decision to leave and have that conversation. I was really like numb, and I was just talking. It always happens to me like in interviews too. When I
Yeah.
know that I'm meant to have something, something takes over,
Mm-hmm.
which is probably my higher self.
Mm-hmm.
Just being like, okay, bitch, you're gonna talk now. It's your turn to talk. Yeah. So yeah, that was 2015, really early 2015, after my daughter just turned 1. I had no plan. I had nothing. Like, I didn't know what I was gonna do. Like, I was still very much codependent, and had to like kind of figure out, oh, how is this going to work logistically. We had a home together with a mortgage and bills to pay, and so intertwined in that. How is that going to work? Like, where are we going to go? How am I going to afford this on my own? I won't. I can't. There was just so many things in that. But yeah, thank God Tina was there during all that, because like I don't know how that would have played out. I always think like, maybe if you don't have that kind of support to be there for you, like it's so easy to go back and take it back
Mm-hmm.
because of how enmeshed you are, and still in that contract together, playing out. And I know there's like, we were just talking about in the last video, that there's like an aspect of myself that's still married and playing out that contract.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty amazing to feel that like split off. And yeah, you don't realize how much courage you have until you find yourself saying what you have to say and stick into it.
Yeah. And yeah, not having a plan, not knowing what's going to happen next, but always having that trust that it's going to work out. And, when you make that decision to follow your heart, to do what's best for your soul, for your highest good,
Mm-hmm.
you supports you.
Yes.
As long as you are doing what's best for your highest good, you will be supported. And that is something that we learned and cultivated over the last 6 years and have proven to be true. So if anyone out there is doubting, what decision to make, just do it and know that you will be supported. People will come out of the woodwork. Opportunities will arise out of nowhere. Like, it just works. The universe supports you in every way, and it will always work out for your highest good. Even if that doesn't sometimes look like you think it's supposed to look.
Mm-hmm.
When you're tapped in to your intuition and your higher self, um, we think things are supposed to be pretty all the time, but they're not always pretty. And sometimes situations
No.
prevent themselves that, aren't the prettiest of situations, but they're for your highest learning,
Right.
because we're always learning.
Right.
But when you are following and doing what your soul is crying and asking for you to do, you will be supported 100%. I remember just like my soul screaming at me. Like, it got to the point where I couldn't not do anything about it. And you just have to push past that fear, because there was so much fear.
Oh
It's like
God,
the
yeah.
scariest thing ever.
Yeah. It's terrifying where you just don't, yeah, you just don't know. This is really like jumping into the fire.
Hmm.
Yeah. Mm.
But you did it.
So did you.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
And so talk about how like your trip to Thailand and how that was and what it was like coming back.
My trip to Thailand had opened me wide open. I really do believe that it opened up my heart chakra very much, and it was too. I think it opened it too much that I wasn't prepared for that. Um, my whole life, I was shamed for crying and punished for it, very much so. So I had shut it down completely and didn't know how to cry. I, at least in public spaces or with people, or just even feeling that right here automatically turned to stone, or I would have to wait till everybody would leave for me to go like in a dark space and let it out. So in Thailand, it was a beautiful experience where I experienced very, like, it was such an organic experience. I think that's the best way to put it. And it was the first time that I was in nature in that way, like where we would meditate at like 6 o'clock in the morning to the jungle waking up. And we had gone for a little hike. I'm not a hiker, but I mean, I went because it was just like, well, you're in Thailand, so do it. And we went to this really amazing cave. And, we all have our cell phones here. So our lights are on because it's a cave. So we have our lights, and then we found a space for us to just sit in. And there was a lady who was guiding us. She was like a lady of like the area. And she's like, just turn off your phones now and just settle into the womb of mother. And everyone just started chanting ohms in that space and singing, and everybody just started crying because of the echo. And I lost it because I mean, it was a dark space, so great opportunity. No one could see you. It was pitch black, like you couldn't see anything. And I thought it was like a very metaphoric thing because I felt, there's just there's so much part of me that just wanted to release, and I released a lot that in that moment. Everything that I had held in had released.
Mm-hmm.
And and it goes back to my abandonment wound where I just wanted mom, and bringing me back into just those words, of mother, had triggered a deep wound in me, and I just cried, like kind of grieved and wept, and like really like soul cry. Like, and
Yeah.
everybody was just crying in there and releasing, and it was like we were all anchored into that space of the earth just taking all our pain and whatever we were holding in down into her. So my heart opened big time there. And then I get home back to winter time because it's January. And then Tina breaks that bombshell on me about my own relationship. And I wasn't believing it. I mean, like, I didn't, not that I didn't believe it. It was just more like, I always take what she has to say to heart and kind of like reflect on it. It's never a hard no for me when she tells me something about myself, but I will reflect on it. And I did. And then even though there were proofs that were showing up physically, I would deny it. And like I was just in denial, like a deep like, I go, no, I go, that happened. I go, but it can't be. It can't be because like you're questioning years with this person. And how did I not know? Because you even said, you're like, how do you not question anything? And I'm like, I don't know, I just trust. It's so naive,
Yeah. So naive.
I just trusted. Like I just didn't think that anyone would hurt me like that intentionally, or maybe not intentionally. I don't know, consciously or unconsciously. I don't know. But yeah, there was just things, and but I mean, like, I had to work through that and understanding myself, and I had to go dig into my childhood and my parents' relationship and understanding generational stuff that was passed on to me. And yeah, I was the first one, I guess, in our lineage to divorce and break away, kind of thing, and with children involved, and learn a lot about myself and really face myself, get to know myself. Um, but I mean, I worked hard in that relationship too, even, as best as we could. I mean, we have a very peaceful relationship now, me and my ex-husband, where we co-parent, and it works pretty well right now. So it's really just day to day. He just tells me what he needs, and then I just do what I have to do to support him, and it's fine. I think it's very much for the children, and what helps me there is knowing that I do know that he loves them, so I don't feel anything from that. So I think that's a good thing. But yeah,
Yeah.
we had to work hard to get to a place where it's peaceful.
Right. And you've done that over the last 6 years. I mean,
Yeah.
and you had to face a lot of fear with telling your family.
Right. I had to, there's just so many closets you have to come out of. What you realize down the line, it's just like the fear closet of telling them. I texted my mom to tell her I separated. I texted them.
Because on the surface, to other people, your relationship looks fine, like there's nothing wrong. Right.
Right. Yeah.
And you don't actively talk to your family members about your emotions or what's going on in your marriage. So it was probably shocking for them.
For my parents, probably. But I would, yeah, I know my sisters felt it. They knew there was something off. Um, that's about it. I mean, like, there's really just no one to talk to, and it's just like even like thinking of my mindset back then, I would go back and forth and be like, "What are you doing? He's nice, he's a good guy, but that's no reason to stay with someone, even though they're nice and good guy. It's just like your souls are not here for that. I mean, like to share that life together in that way.
Right.
So I mean, like even if they are good people or whatever it is, it's sometimes it just doesn't work. It's all for your higher learning. Like I'm playing a role in his learning too. It's really up to him if he wants to go that pathway. Like,
Right.
yeah, I
And you're
learned from my side. It's just like, what is he going to learn from that?
right. And sometimes you have to make that hard decision for the both of you, knowing that neither of you are happy. Neither of
Right,
you will want to make this work. You know he's not going to take it well, but ultimately it's for his highest good too. You're
right,
not
and
doing it
yeah,
selfishly because you just want to do your own thing, but you know that it's not right for either
no,
of you to be there.
right. And I always said it to him. I go, I want someone to love you the way that I couldn't. Like, that's all I want for you, because I go, you're going to be stuck with somebody who's miserable, and that's not fair. I go, that's not cool for either of us, where you have to force something, and then, like, are you going to settle for that? Like, I wouldn't want someone to force loving me,
Right.
whatever that is, force it, anything. Or once you force something, it's not good. There's no flow there.
Yeah, and then you're
And
modeling that for your children too.
right, I had to free them from that. Just generational stuff too, ancestral things, and even for them to understand at least true love of the self, like where I did choose myself in that. And that does maybe sound selfish, but it's not, in a sense where it's for the greater good for everybody. You know, that's the ultimate
Absolutely.
goal. You want to love yourself. You want to take care of yourself and go where your joy is.
The programming though runs so deep,
Hmm.
especially for women, because we are so deeply programmed to stay for the sake of the children, stay for the sake of the family, and anything that looks like loving yourself or doing what's best for your own soul is looked down upon as selfish.
Right. There's so much guilt in there.
Guilt, the guilt is, yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Right. I mean, like, I took responsibility for my contribution in that failed relationship. Of course, I contributed to it. You know, it's not just one party problem, it's a both party problem. Like, that's how it works.
right, exactly. So then what, so 2016 was also your,
I went on sick leave.
you went on sick leave.
Yeah. My, it started out in, for my daughter's second, no, yeah, second birthday. And my dad recalled a story about, because my daughter was crying a lot that day for her birthday, and he compared her to me, how she would cry for nothing and didn't want to go with anybody, and how, yeah, he recalled a story about putting me in the garage and I stopped crying, and he was so proud. And I was kind of like, just, he never, you know, I knew the story vaguely that it happened to me. I go, but it was interesting coming from hearing it and being out of it. And so confirming that what I do remember, the very little memories that I do have, is actually true. And you know, his happiness about how he fixed me was probably what damaged me in the long term. So I mean, I wasn't mad at him. You know, my dad's a really good guy. It's just that he did his best. Like, that's what he thought was his best. You know, like, trying to, because he couldn't deal with crying, because his parents didn't deal with his crying, etc., and so on and so forth. So he was just doing what he knew. So that's what he knew. And yeah, so that kind of opened up a little more the space. And I originally went to a doctor's appointment maybe the following month. I think this was for my son's birthday the next month around that time. And I went to go to the doctor just to get a paper for a gynae referral. Actually, that's the reason why I went. And I ended up having like 5 anxiety attacks there in like half an hour, and she took me off of work. And then yeah, diagnosed me with anxiety and a relapse, actually, of anxiety and major depressive disorder, and prescribed me medication. And I was really like insisting. I was like, no, it's okay. Like, I'm just dealing. Like, and trying not to cry at the same time, because I'm like, why are there all these like stirring emotions just coming out, and I don't know what to do, and then it's overtaking my body now. Like, it's really, I reached my threshold again. It overspilled after 12 years. The first time was after 21 years, and then this was 12 years later after relapse. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, my spilling points were getting shorter because I never really dealt with it the first time. I kind of just changed my perspective again, and then accepted all this garbage, and then now my soul's screaming like yodel hee hoo here, like screaming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I went on a sick leave, so I had to kind of say like everything that I refused, because, you know, Tina knows me, like, I've always like played that tough girl. I had to only break that tough girl role, like, it was only like what, recently. So I still played that tough girl role for a while. But I have accepted, you know, kind of those kind of defeats, like, okay, gotta get off work now and deal with that. And really had some low lows in that, you know. And then I remember in meditation, I was just like crying to the universe. Like, I was so over it. I was like, I need something, because, like, I think prior to that, I wanted to like drive my car into the wall. It was so bad. I was just like really like not, just in my head a lot, and just asking why, And why can't I deal with these emotions? I'm crying every day. I can't, my body is so tired. I can't go to the bathroom. Through my feet, I was crawling to the bathroom. I didn't shower for a long time, like really bad state. Like that I had to give up my children. My mom was watching my daughter and my ex had my son, and I was just having a rough go at it. And yeah, so I'm like, with the universe, like praying, and then the postman knocks on my door, and Tina sent me these books. It was Eckhart Tolle's New Earth. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
The orange one. A New Earth, and a book on abandonment. So I had to deal with the core wounds, and I read the New Earth, and it changed a lot. I felt like it felt like it flushed out all my thoughts. And then that's when I put my ego to the beach, which only lasted a period. But I had conquered a lot of the mental slavery, and that was huge for me because my whole life was mental.
Right.
Like mentally checking out, mentally, in my head, always analyzing, observing. My whole life is observing everybody and just watching and analyzing. So my head is always on going. And it kind of just got me out of that and got me to presence.
And in victim mode too. Like, why
Mm-hmm.
is this happening to me? Why can't anybody help me? Why doesn't anybody care about me? Why doesn't anybody care enough? Remember that was really big for you. And finally one day I'm just like, listen, people just don't care. They just don't care. And that's something that we're gonna have to learn how to deal with, and actually give that care that we want so badly to ourselves and learn to flip that around and only depend on our own self-love because it's the only thing we can trust in this life. So I think that was a big shift for you too.
Yeah, getting out of victimhood. Like you don't realize how deeply you are victimized by your life and everything, your thoughts, who you're around, your experiences, your work. You're never happy, right? So it's like, why me? And that's exactly what I was throwing out there. A lot of attraction was just throwing out all the shits, getting it back. But all the lessons in the same time, you realize how empowering it is when you take your power back because you give it away everywhere by trying to blame it on everything around you. Because, you feel like you're owed by suffering all that time. When you owe yourself all, pick up all your shit and like get out of that, wake up and fight for yourself. It was really just a fighting for yourself. And that push and pull between, your the thought forms and the paradigms and the programming and the conditioning, like everything. I had to undo everything about myself, like really peel myself back layer by layer by layer by layer. And I got to a really good place. And then when Tina finished the BQH thing, went and dug deeper. Yeah, we dug deeper in myself as well. And yeah, well, I guess when we had more visits together, when we had like more physical contact together, that's when everything really like shut out the shitter too. Like, show me yourself. Yeah, she mirrored a lot of myself back to me.
So that was 2016. You kind of like recovered from that episode. You got off the medication and recovered from that.
Yeah, it was a 6-month span.
Yeah.
That I recovered. That psychiatry said I healed myself. So I was like, super. But I had a lot more work to do. That was really just, I needed to get myself in a stable place to implant myself very much so that I was ready to face myself now. Like deeply face myself. So I had to root myself in there. and not get off track. And I mean, getting off track is not a big deal. But at least I had that support in Tina. Like she kept me grounded a lot, and kept me on track of put me in my place if I had to, or just let me face it. The only person who I really truly trusted and respected enough to look at myself, she mirrored me very much, that I had no choice but to look at it. Because when you get to that point of like the suffering, like we say all the time, you get sick of it. Because when you finally see some results and how you're feeling good, especially coming from not ever feeling good, and now you're feeling good, it gets it kind of leads you in the direction, and your soul knows because it's effortless. Things are just clicking like that. Okay, next.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's just, once you get a grip mentally, I think that's such a huge thing. I mean, that was it for me. A new earth changed my life, my whole paradigm, my whole way of thinking and practicing presence. I mean, that literally saved my life. And just getting a grip mentally, and then every day just putting one foot in front of the other and doing what you know you have to do, practicing the presence and switching those thoughts when the negative self-talk when it does come in, switching those to positive thoughts, filling yourself up. I am worthy, I am enough, I am valuable, I am love, I am peace, I am light. Just constantly those mantras. And it doesn't matter if you don't believe it, because you're not going to believe it at first when you're saying those words.
No.
You don't believe it at all. You don't believe you're worthy. You don't believe you're valued. You don't believe that you're enough.
You want to,
You want to.
You really want to. I know I wanted it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you eventually do, though. It's like the old fake it till you make it.
I guess I had to an extent.
Yeah.
I'm not a faker, but I had to do a little bit of that.
Yeah. I mean, that at least gets you up and out of the hole you're in, that deep, dark abyss of suffering. Then you're stable enough to start digging through the layers, right? Because there's layers and layers and layers. So the mental healing isn't enough. It does bring you up and out. And
yeah. It's necessary. It's all necessary. All the layers are all necessary, even if it's just the mental. But there's more, so much more to it that you have to look at.
Yeah.
Oh, so much
Always
more.
unraveling the self and discovering more and more and more about who you are and how you function and why you function that way.
Yeah.
And so I left my husband in 2017. I remember that summer. Well, I think that spring I decided I was going to do it. Absolutely no plan on how I was going to support myself. I had stayed that long because of my illness. And I was scared to be on my own. Like, who's going to take care of me if I get sick? I'm in another state away from my family. I have some acquaintances, but no real friends.
Yeah, we're in different countries.
We're in different countries, right? Karen lives in Canada, and I'm in New Jersey. So I was completely on my own, but I just made the decision that I was going to do it that spring, and that summer. It was so magical. I think I had like a Kundalini awakening that summer too. And it was just so much.
Yeah, we both did the same.
Yeah. Right. And there was so much magic. It was just constant flowing to me every single day. It was just like, yes, you are on the right path. This is right. This is where you're supposed to be. You're going in the right direction. I just remember my intention was peace and freedom. And that was it. All I wanted was peace and freedom. And so I spent all that summer like preparing to actually make the move to leave. And that that was the scariest thing I've ever done in my life. The scariest thing I've ever done in my life. Um, it
It
was
was so
worth,
huge, even for you to even decide.
yeah. Um, that was like, yeah, it was huge because I was putting total trust and faith in the universe that I would be supported. And but once I did that and I made that decision, it was just showing me all of these signs just every single day that it was right and I would be supported. And like I said before, people and situations present themselves that you would never even think of, you know, and I have been supported ever since I left. Um, I actually like operated a little daycare for a while, had several kids in and
Oh my
out,
God, yeah.
um, and have been able to support myself. And what I realized was that being in that environment was causing my illness,
Hmm.
which was really difficult. It took me a long time to really understand that and how it works. Um, because we can't see energy, it takes longer for the brain to really start to understand how it affects us physically, like physically affects us. I
Yeah.
remember walking home because I was nannying, which and the it's in the same apartment complex from where we live, and I would be walking home to my apartment and just like with this ball of like fear in my stomach, and the dread, the feeling of dread of walking in there and not knowing what you're gonna walk into today, what that's gonna feel like, and just the constant walking on eggshells and just being a victim of whatever energy that person is throwing out that day. Um, and knowing that there's only so much you can do about it. I did a lot of healing while I was still there in that environment, but you can never get all the way there while you're still in that environment because the energy is just so suppressive. Um, and I do believe that there's dark energy at play as well, for sure.
Hmm. Hmm.
That dark suppressive energy that just is there suppressing your light. Um, but yeah, it was the best thing I've ever done in my life. And being in my own apartment, in my own energy, in my like peaceful, calm environment, the best thing I ever did for my entire life. And that is when my healing really began. The day I walked out of
Yeah.
there. I mean, it's so difficult to explain like the journey we've been on over the past 6 years because it's been
It's
so
so everywhere and
every
everything. There's always something every day.
every day,
We
right?
have something every day.
Every day. Mm. But like the things we've talked about have been like the major things, but it really is every day learning and growing and evolving. So after that fall of 2017 when I left and into 2018, that's when we started seeing each other physically. And that's when a lot of your big healing started to happen. Because when she
Yeah.
was here physically, face to face with her own mirror, she wasn't able to hide behind a phone.
I know. Oh God.
So what was
Yeah.
that like for you?
To physically be with you,
Mhm.
there's that you know, the little peaks of old self and new self like coming through. It was like a bit of a tango, you know. And you know, I always called myself like your yes girl. I was your yes girl because it was just like, yes, you know, I gotta try that. I gotta break out of that because, like, you know, it does in a way end up becoming like healing becomes very addictive because you're seeing yourself grow and you're seeing the results and you're expanding and you're feeling yourself being more free and being able to be more of yourself. So there's no hiding anymore. There's no pretending. There's just
Freedom.
freedom. Yeah. I remember 2018, we called it Freedom 2018. That was our hashtag.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so she would mirror me in like a lot of ways and things that I never was obviously conscious of. Like we always make that joke about that time where I was cutting an onion and how about, well, the first time I ever met Tina, let's just go back, let's rewind now. The first time I ever met Tina, like when we would talk to each other on text, you know, what was I? Well, I was funny. I was confident.
Oh yeah. Funny
So
and
confident.
So
God,
confident.
I was so confident. You know, I was just like, yes, girl, this is who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And then I met her and she looked at me. We made eye contact. And I felt myself immediately collapse from the inside out because she saw what I was hiding. She saw who I really was inside, and no one has ever looked at me that way. So that was really shocking. So anyway, let's fast forward.
So like the
cutting
confidence
the onion.
went. The confidence went.
Yeah,
Gone.
I shat it all out. Like it was just like I was like, wait, don't leave me here with her, the witch.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I saw right through you because you are me. So I know
Right.
all the tricks.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was just so like. Anyway, that was a really big one for me. Shocking.
And
Yeah.
confusing for me because I was expecting someone who was like super confident. And so the energy you were in, I was like, wait, she either like really hates me and wants to run out of here, or she likes me. I can't figure it out. Like I really didn't know. I really didn't know.
Yeah, that was like the whole contrast of me hiding my true
Trying.
self, but trying. I was really good at it until I met her.
Yeah.
Or ruined it for me. No, but great. You know, at the same time, great because it was the first time you're seeing. So you know, of course, people could run away from that. You know, our relationship is so intense, can't even like really intense. So you can't run from yourself. I was like, so for those of you who don't know, like, I mean, we discovered along the way in our relationship that we're twin flames. Maybe we'll say that for another video how we know about that. But to make a long story short, you just know. You just know. Yeah. So anyway, I'll fast forward back to the onion. So I'm cutting the onion, and I feel her eyes right there, and I'm in my head like, am I doing it right? Does she want it like this? Um, do I? Is this knife like I don't know how to use a knife, but I'm gonna pretend like I do. Um, a lot. That's pretty much what I'm thinking in my head. She knows it. She could hear. She's like, and then really like what happens is she's just like, just cut the fucking onion, and I'm like, okay. But you know, like I had like performance anxiety. The angel wings were in me, like and my little halo was kind of like that. I was like, oh my gosh, she's gonna see me more like that I'm broken inside and I don't know what I'm doing. And I really want her to like me.
Yeah.
I just wanted her to like me. And it went back to the same thing when we had first met. I go, I just want her to like me.
Yeah.
Because I love her so much. Just like a little bit. Yeah, and then, well, obviously back to core wound. I'm reenacting a core wound So my actions were playing out from that core wound. If I don't do things correctly, if I don't perform to their liking, they're gonna see that I'm a fraud or something, and then retract their love for me, or for, and then what? So there was that, a lot of that play about questioning myself and my real intentions, about what am I doing things for, to gain something? Am I doing it for the right reasons? So there's a lot of learning involved, a lot of understanding the codependent again in a different face and different situation, and then breaking from that, healing yourself in that, and always coming back to yourself, because really, like, the twin flame relationship is not about your partner. It's your partner is mirroring you, so you come back to yourself. And that's what it was. That's how amazing it was, because it really got me like, am I doing it for her, or am I doing it for me? And it really made me go into that mode of questioning. And then you really do feel the energy when you settle into it. Like, okay, no, I am doing it because I do love her, or blah, blah, blah. Or I am doing it because I want to. It's very clear cut. You could see how you used to do things before, when it came down to gaining something in return, I guess. Maybe an unconscious thing, like a void, filling a void inside. Like, if I do that, then I'm going to get something back. Perhaps, like some validation.
Right.
Until you learn to do it on your own.
Right. Like, are you doing
It's
things
a wean.
it's a wean.
It's a wean.
Are you doing things to just please me, to gain my love? Or are you doing things because you really want to do them out of your own love?
Right. And she had to question me in that, and so I could reflect on myself.
Right. Instead of just accepting that she's doing all these amazing things for me, which she does. I'm like, wait a minute. Are you doing these things for me because you are trying to gain my love? You want me to love you? Or are you doing them because you really want to do them?
And the trick here, people, how I healed from that and knowing, was for me to turn the tables around in looking at it like, well, is it taking away from, or whatever she does, does it take away from me, or will that change how I feel about her? No. I love her. So it's not going to change anything.
Right. And really what it's been is just shedding all these stories.
Yeah.
All of these stories, the stories that keep us small, that make us feel we're not worthy or valued or lovable, shedding all those and understanding that you're always whole and loved and lovable, and that's it. Just standing in that power and shedding all those old stories you've ever told about yourself, like even the tough girl story, the 14-pound bowling ball and all of that. I forget how that even came about.
Yeah, I played a tough girl role. I was a tough girl, and yeah, that little anecdote is like, because I was in a bowling league and I was getting better at it, and I was informed by my colleague, that I should get a bigger ball. So I got a 14-pound ball, and I was doing really well. It was like the best season of my life. And then I really took pride in that tough girl thing until I healed the tough girl. So she left me, or integrated her inside, but I couldn't even carry the ball anymore after that. So how does that work? I released her, because that's not really who I am. I was just pretending to be tough again, another form of protection.
Yeah, so many forms of protection. It's just like layers upon layers upon layers that you have to peel away. Yeah. So we spent 2018 and 19 doing that.
Yeah, we had a good run. But yeah, our relationship is very special. It's not just romance. We laugh a lot.
We laugh a lot.
We laugh a lot. And
at ourselves.
Yeah. I'll just make her a video, and just laugh all the time. And then we got into this, she got into the BQH stuff. I didn't think I was going to get into that either, that direction, until she did a session on me, and I realized that my gift of checking out would serve us by, in the roles that we're going to, have for our tandem sessions, bubble sessions, surrogates. We're working, in our favor. So we have a very good, it seems to be the word of the week, rapport with each other and our clients, and just our healing that we've done in the last few years has helped, expand ourselves. And I know that people could feel that. They feel that, that ability, or at least to feel safe, I guess, within the environment that we create for them. And I know that when we're physically together, we do make people uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Just by our presence. We're not even doing anything.
No.
We're just free. And I think that makes people uncomfortable because of how free we are. Don't give a shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it took a lot of hard work. It's not you just come here and be like, okay, I'm free. If only people knew how much we had to go through to get to that place, to get to our freedom 2018 hashtag. Like, yeah.
Yeah, and even farther, I mean,
Yeah,
we
merging,
thought
like healing the feminine and masculine inside, merging all that.
2018 was free, but that was just the beginning of our freedom. There's always more and more levels to freedom and
Yeah.
peace and just contentment with life.
Mm-hmm.
Just being
Yeah.
content. And the twin flame relationship is it's so much way less about romance than it is about healing and being able to face yourself and look at yourself. And if you're not able to look at yourself, then a twin flame relationship
it's not gonna work.
Not gonna work. But your partner also needs to be able to support you in that reflection without the judgment, but just in complete unconditional love, and to be able to hold each other there without
changing it or trying to fix it.
Yeah, without changing it or trying to fix it. But knowing that, my knowing is that you are always dedicated to healing. You are the only person I've ever met in my life with that kind of dedication to healing. And you're literally not afraid. I shouldn't say not afraid, but you will take it on.
I'm like, I'm scared in that moment.
Take it on and face anything, but that's what makes you brave. The fact that you're willing to go up against your own self and look yourself in the eye, even with that fear, and do it anyway. I just have so much love and respect for you for being able to do that, because you're the only person I've ever met in my life that's able to do that. Because I am such a strong mirror for people. And
oh yeah, I love that reflection, because it was just like, it showed me so much stuff. It's embarrassing sometimes to even think of. Like, you're the only one who really knows my deep dark secrets, like knows
same.
me. No, I know.
Yeah.
But it's like yeah, no, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Like, when we think back about that, just getting that notification and just hearing my guide say she's gonna change your life. God. Yes. Changed it. Like, who I was that day when I received that message is so not even close. I mean, you could see the change in my face in pictures from my healing. Mm-hmm. Who I was back then.
Completely different person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was sick with chronic illness. I was about 40 pounds heavier. I mean, it was just a completely different energy altogether.
Yeah, 2016, I lost like 30 pounds just from purging a lot of suppressed emotions. I cried so much and just allowed myself to. And I shed 30 pounds.
I never thought I'd be this thin in my life. I always struggled with weight. And part of the weight, there's many levels to the weight struggle. And specifically for empaths and sensitive people, it's the cushion from the outside world and the energies around us. Having that cushion and also absorbing and storing other people's energy in the body allows for that weight gain. Storing your childhood trauma in your body, and then plus, other physical things like toxins and things like that. But when you really start to heal and start releasing and allowing yourself to release these things, all of these suppressed traumas and emotions, you start to shed that weight rather quickly. And especially if you do it along with physically detoxing the body, through juicing and other detox mechanisms. Yeah, the weight comes off because you don't need it anymore. You don't need that protection.
Right. But Tina wasn't actually doing it on purpose to lose weight. It just shed off. Like for me, my weight too just shed off. I wasn't trying to lose weight either. It just came off naturally.
I had come to a point where I was comfortable with my weight no matter what it was. I didn't feel uncomfortable at the weight I was before I lost weight. I was comfortable with myself and I loved myself no matter what. And I feel like that's a big factor too in releasing it, is being okay with it and loving yourself where you are. Because if you're hating yourself and your body the way it is, it's not going to respond to you. Your body,
it's not going to want to work for you.
Your body needs your love and your acceptance for what it is and what it's done for you. I mean, if you really think about all that your body has done for you, it's a lot.
It took a lot of abuse.
Mine, especially. My body took a lot of abuse. And so, yeah, Karen and I are kind of like polar opposites, like yin yang. Like when she woke up to the magic, and I came around to the magic, like in 2017 when I was really getting all that magic. I had integrated my ego first, and she kind of did it towards
after.
Towards the middle there and there. Well, no, at the end. It was really the end of last summer when we did the BQH and integrated the ego.
Fully. I mean, I did work with the ego, but it was more the thoughts, just being aware of the thoughts and bringing a little more presence into my life, and then integrating the ego, because it would still, in the spiritual community, they do talk about like ego death, but that's not, I think that could be misinterpreted. If you can't kill your ego. You want your ego to be with you, because the ego is there for beautiful purposes of, protecting you in this 3D world. And, it plays a purpose. It's a great purpose if you can understand it. But, and then when you come into, the healing, integrating it, curing it out, like the session that we had together where my ego came out, Tina decided to have a talk with the ego. The God was there too, but she decided to talk to the ego instead, which was actually a blessing, because after that moment, my ego had nicely integrated, agreed to help me grow. We grow together. That's what it is. The body, the mind, the soul, all of it, we all grow together. And the inner child, like we all have our roles to play, and we merge as one, because we're all on the same team here. So we got to work together instead of being separated and, acting out on our wounds in separation.
But that separation, like how you separated those parts of you and healed that way, working with those different parts of you, that's another way that we're different, because I never really did that.
Right. That's true. Yeah, we had different ways, but I mean, like, our stories are very similar and our experiences are very similar in life stuff.
Our traumas.
Healing-wise, traumas,
Even our angeling. Like, how crazy is that?
Right. We had a lot of synchronicities. And, we just had I mean, like we're very much similar, and then we're very different in a way, like very polar opposites, which
Mhm.
complement each other also because you can't really always be in the same. You know, like we always say,
That would
like if
be
we were,
boring.
if yeah, boring, and if we had, um, you know, done the healing at the same time, I don't think it would have worked for us at all. Like, because she had her healing and was able to guide me through it, and we were able to play these roles for each other. Standing like there to
Like
hold
I've
space
already
while we were
done
doing
it, so
things.
I can guide you through it. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We yeah. It was a lot of work. I mean, like again, like when I reflect back and how we were just discovering things together. You're just like, we gotta try this telekinesis stuff and telepathy, and then we ended up like naturally being able to. Well, we're pretty telepathic as it is,
Yeah. Really
which is
telepathic.
really cool. Yeah, but we feel each other. I mean, like she knows her. Sometimes, like we're like in Zoom class with our teacher, and then we could feel each other. I'll turn off my video and whatever, and I'll text her, "Are you all right?" And you're like, "I can't. I'm just like I'm so overwhelmed," like. Or vice versa. Like she'll ask me, "Are you okay?" She
Yeah.
knows. She can feel me.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've come to understand energy and just the way things work through a lot through our relationship
Yeah,
together.
through and by living alone had helped a lot as well because that gave us the opportunity to know our energy alone,
Mhm.
our environment, so that when anything comes into the environment that is not ours, we know it's not ours. Like we can tell because we already know the proper protocols and how to assess ourselves and know ourselves so well that when something is happening outside of us or that may be coming into our field, we're able to recognize it. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Which has been an amazing thing about finally, like, this is the first time I've ever lived on my own in my life, the first time I've ever been just in my own energy. And now, when a toxic person comes into my field, I'm like, holy shit, how did I live like this for 20, 40 years, really? My whole life
Right.
with toxic people. I can't even imagine doing that now. So imagine the beating that my body took living like that every day. And I'm like, wow.
Right. Right. And I feel it like in certain environments, like when I get myself in there and I get like this overwhelm here, and I'll text you and I'm like, like it's not good. And you're like, well, it's where you're at. And I was like, I know, but it's like it's crazy to feel that when you're not used to it anymore.
Hmm.
And
It's
then you
like
get
when,
home and you're like, oh my God, I'm home. Feel
yeah,
safe.
right. And
Yeah.
then your home becomes like your sanctuary.
It is your sanctuary. You have to make your home your sanctuary. It can't be a place where you're in fear or not feeling like safe or you could be yourself. And
I can't even imagine. Like, my heart goes out to anyone who's living in a toxic environment right now because I just, I lived that way for so long. And I know what it's like. I can't.
Mhm. But yeah, our journey doesn't end. It's just continuous and
Always,
like
I
another
mean, look at
video.
all the stuff we've learned just in the past year. What our BQH anniversary was yesterday?
Yeah, yours.
Yeah, well, ours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I know it's crazy how far we've come and like now building a business around that. So I mean, like we never would have been able to get to this point of building a business around what we're doing now had we not done that work because we're attracting a lot of people that are very similar to us. We have that old energetic signature that we're just like, come hither, we're going to help you because we've done the work to get you there. Like that, we are the proof of the hard work that you have to put into yourself, the commitment. We always stress the commitment.
To the south. To the
Yes,
south.
you came here to learn all your, from all your shit that you've been through. And really, yeah, the turning point was when she told me, like, you're a victim. too much now. Like, okay. You don't like to hear that because you're like, no, it's not. You're still, ingest this. Like, no, I need to have my moment here where I could get mad and be that. Yeah, that's how angry I was.
No, I know. Listen, I had that moment too. I had many, many, many moments like that. Like, why doesn't somebody help me? Why doesn't anybody care that I'm anxious all the time and depressed? Nobody cares. And I just, you hit rock bottom and you realize that nobody can
Ain't
save
nobody
you.
gonna save you. You're gonna save yourself. In the end, even though Tina and I were very supportive of each other, she couldn't heal me.
Oh,
Again, she could have mirrored me and I would have been like, all right, peace out, thank you. Like, I don't want to see that. Bye.
right.
And then what?
And every time I would mirror something to you, I would be afraid that this was the time you were gonna peace out, Like every time. There
Yeah,
was that like
I
little
thought
tiny
your
part of me.
I thought that little part of me was gonna peace out when you told me I was borderline. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, you're just mean now.
But that helped you to understand that deeper root of the whole abandonment issue.
Yeah, thank God for that, because then I was tapping the shit out of it. Well,
Right.
yeah, that pushed me to heal my trauma even harder in the body. Made me look at it because I'm like, if this shit's still coming out and I've done all this work, I go, what more do I have to fucking do? The last piece really was the body, but I mean, but then again, it's always maintenance. Like I said, I'm always still tapping myself just to make sure I'm good. Always touching, just to
Yeah.
make sure. You never fucking know. Your body still needs that maintenance. Even life can get you all carried away, and so you got to remember to come back home. Always come back home and check, 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 check.
Yeah.
Stay humble.
Always stay humble. Yeah. Yeah, because nobody ever knows everything. No one's ever completely healed. We're always learning and growing and expanding. Like, what fun would it be if we were just
Stagnant.
healed? Didn't have anything to do.
Yeah, but I find like this year too, with the pandemic and everything, like that really got us to again look at to see how we're able to stand in that. And again, like a big thing for me too, like what it has shown me because of all the darkness that's coming out this year, and again being very sensitive to things. Like I always say, Tina's really good at detaching from that stuff. I'm not. I get very involved emotionally because I could feel it, and I don't know yet how to. I still don't, but I don't ignore it anymore. I just allow it to be. If that's what I'm feeling, then I know it's just perhaps I'm the vessel to transmute it, and then I can just hold space for it without trying to change it. So
Right.
that's what's been happening, like with all the darkness that's coming out now, the truths and the ugliness that's happening in the world.
Yeah. But we have to allow ourselves to feel whatever it is that it sparks in us and sit with that because
Yeah,
if
and
we
be yeah,
and transmute it, because then we have to get ourselves to a place of love and forgiveness for
exactly.
those acts. So in order
Yes,
to get there, you have to get through that
yes,
emotion, whatever it is, first.
yes. And and then I still feel that like stuff will still come out. And be like, I'm not affected by it, or you're still feeling that bit of shame of like, not, I don't know if shame is the good word, of having to admit that I'm scared. I am in fear. I don't like this. It scares me because then you still have that conditioning in the love and light community. Like you shouldn't be feeling like that,
Right.
but you gotta be fucking honest with yourself. You have to be honest with yourself. Be
Right.
honest to that emotion because this is how we end up forgetting how we ended up being healed and unconscious is by stuffing it down and not addressing things right away or just not acknowledging or invalidating yourself.
Right. Yeah. 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 We've really come full circle and we've had so much fun. It hasn't been all serious and all about healing, although a lot
No,
of it is.
we have tons of fun.
We have lots of fun. So, anything else you want to add?
No, again, if people are nosy about us or we care to help, or if you have any questions on how we do things or our process in the healing or just questions, Q&A.
Yeah. We should do like a live Q&A.
Who's gonna come?
Maureen.
Be surprised. Yeah, Maureen. Thank you, Maureen. We love
JJ
you.
will come.
Yeah.
Maybe Linda.
Lisa.
And Lisa.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And maybe the lurkers. Come and watch. We know who you are. We see you.
Yeah, guys, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Like this video if you like it. Leave us comments. Let us know.
Yeah, we love comments because you know what? Maybe we might actually pick somebody and give a special prize.
Maybe.
Anniversary prize.
Anniversary prize.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe. Like, we don't know. If you don't comment, we won't have this contest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, comment. We like comments. I'll write you back.
I'll write you back. Promise. All right, guys. Well, this was fun. And we're always sending you so much love. We'll see you next time.
Bye.